Hello, Space Pirates! Today we are talking about a new battle report, and this battle report will be about big girls in a shopping mall. The story behind that is a request from Ryan, who is the promoter of the Big Boys list in Steel Phalanx. He did some research there and improved the lists a lot. And when Bakunin came out, he asked for feedback or ideas how to make a big girls list in Bakunin. And for an upcoming tournament and to stretch my comfort zone a little bit, where I'm currently mostly playing Vanilla or Corregidor, which are related to zero deployment. I wanted to try this out and see how that works. Therefore, I did create a bunch of lists. This is the list we are playing today, which plays around a heavy core of Riot Girls. Basically for the Big Boys list, the characteristic is it's durable, it's a lot of midpoints units, it's not necessarily limited insertion, but it doesn't provide 15 bodies on the battlefield. Therefore, for durability, I consider the Riot Girls to be premium. They have a high BS, they have a MSV1, doing a lot of damage with the +1 damage, and in case they need to do something else, they can still dodge pretty well. They are heavy infantry and 2 wounds and pretty reasonable therefore, due to their frenzy characteristics. So I think for a big girls list, it's more suitable to go with the classic Riot Girl core, which is a missile launcher for aero duty, a Spitfire, boarding shotgun, preferably with the firewall. Fiddler as an engineer and specialist, multi-tool, and Avicenna to heal whatever gets problems. I think this suits more than the Custodia core link because it provides a lot more firepower, punch, and versatility instead of the other core link. Instead of the calling or the links in Steel Phalanx, we don't have mimetism here. Steel Phalanx excels because they have a lot of mimetism -6 and Eclipse or smoke grenades, which provides a lot of good arrows. So this is a little bit of a drawback, but I think this is still really solid. Additionally to that, I have a Kusanagi Lieutenant, which now finally provides the mimetism -6 and at least 1.5 wound. So nearly being 2 wounds. A Cenobite, which has 2 wounds and mimetism -6. And a Reverend Custodia as a hacker with Hacking Device Plus. So whenever the mimetism doesn't help me, I can at least place white noise and cause my opponent problems there as well. This is these 2 link teams is the main idea behind my big girls concept. Providing a small Harris with mimetism -6 and a big core with the Riot Girls. And from there it's only sparkling with different ideas. In this list it's around the Chimera, which is I like very much. Also having a TR bot to give me some more overview about the battlefield, and 2 flash pulse bots. This way I can always pull units into group 1 if I lose something, so I don't like to have simply a limited insertion overall. In respect to orders, these lists are not as powerful as the Steel Phalanx lists are. There's no tactical awareness. There is one NCO for the Custodier, but no, there's no NCO in this Custodier. So no NCO, so it doesn't provide that many orders as Steel Phalanx does. But nevertheless, for me it was a fun list to play. And it provides a lot of flexibility to set up different list concepts from there. I have 4 other lists which look similar. One with Brando Castro to avoiding the Chimera, which now has a little bit of changes in the core link, but and not being Kusanagi the lieutenant, but this tries to get the punch from the Brando Castro and still having a warband with a Morlock. Or a different one is having Robin Hook to provide some midfield hacking. The idea here is to go for a hacker hunt with the Robin Hook and the killer hacking Custodier. Besides that, it's pretty much the same. Or you can even go more nuts and have a Sin Eater marksmanship instead of an TR bot, and provide more firepower. So that's the idea behind the list. I will be playing Frostbyte today, which should be nice with the whole lot of heavy infantry units. I will give Kusanagi the Master Breacher because she is only MI, so and worth a lot of points. So if I can put her in the center in the end, this will help me a lot. My opponent is running this list, containing a McMurrow, which is always nice, Jazz and Billy, as usual, 2 Moran repeaters, 1 in group 1, 1 in group 2, a Harris with Vostok, Daktari, and Evader, an intruder on with multi-marksman rifle, multi-sniper rifle on ARO duty, and for some surprise sparkling, the Carlotta Kowalski. Group 2 has a bandit hacker, 2 Algo Seals, 1 with a decoy as a lieutenant, and the Warcore 360 visor, which will bring Group 1 to 9 orders, or only seeing 8 units on the board, which makes me a little bit nervous about the missing slots during the game. So, by the way, let me know in the comments how you feel about looking at the lists in this army format, or if you prefer to look at the lists while we look at the deployment. Today we are doing this on the browser and have a look at the deployment afterwards. So, let's have a look at the deployment and the game plan. I did win the face-to-face roll and decided to go first. My opponent did let me deploy first on the red side, and he chose blue side. My game plan is to play very defensively, trying to grab objectives with Fiddler because he's damn fast. Shoot whatever needs to be shot with the heavy weapons, the missile launcher or the Spitfire or Kusanagi. And maybe grab a second objective with Kusanagi in the second turn later. Then at the end I can try, this way I will most likely get 2 objectives, which will give me already a lot of points. If I play defensively, I can keep my opponent at bay and probably kill more army points than him. And in the last turn I can push my heavy units into the center and hope for the best to let them survive. The Riot Girls should be good at dodging at that time, and the Harris of the Custodia or the Kusanagi and that stuff will simply deal with that due to their mimetism -6. If there's an opportunity, I will run the Überfallkommando against my opponent, but I think grabbing the objectives will be my first goal. So, therefore, I decided to place my core link around this building because I have a lot of long fire lanes. Sadly, we have all these saturation zones that will reduce my burst to 1, but nevertheless, the missile launcher is a devastating weapon, so maybe it can do some damage. I did place this riot girl over here to have this long fire lane down here in case I will not move them, and spread out every other unit around that building. I did put the Spitfire down here because I probably want to advance with her at one point, and therefore she's down there. Fiddler is far away from the missile launcher in case my opponent has any splash weapons, and same for Avicenna, she's in the back and watching the back, so not being seen by anybody. I did hold back my reaction bot and the camera for a command token. This way I can react to whatever my opponent brings with the reaction bond and going for shooting something. Because I have the high burst and I have 2 orders in group 2 anyways. So this might be a good opportunity. And the camera in case I want to alpha strike something, need to deal with something, always a good opportunity. So I did hold back these 2 units. I did place Kusanagi in the far back. She's my lieutenant. In case I get any pitcher flying around, she should be safe. And she has a line of sight over there. In case my opponent will attack me down here, she is in cover. She can rely on her mimetism -6. And still shoot back, so should be a tough nut to crack. And the Cenobite is providing cover in the first lane. And the 2 flash pulses watching the flanks. This one on the left flank, looking down here, everything should be in good range. And this flash pulse is simply watching the center to secure any advance over there a little bit. My opponent did hold back his Vostok and tried to infiltrate with his Morans. Tried to infiltrate them right in the front of my core link to stop me of moving over there. Unfortunately, he did fail with that, with both of them. So he had to place them in the back line. But I'm not totally sure if this would have really annoyed me. I wouldn't have been able to activate the core link, true. I might have considered to move the Überfallkommando to that flank and cleared the Moran with the Pupniks, maybe. Or maybe I would have simply used Fiddler or Avicenna to clear the Morans and not activating the core link to avoid being hacked. Or maybe even I could have simply activated the core link and used Fiddler to remove any states that got on my HI units. So I think it's a ballsy play to try that, but I'm not sure since after the first turn if this would have stopped me a lot. Besides that, he's looking his back arc. He's placing Jazz and Billy on the top in the defensive frontline position. McMurrow on the right flank, ready to advance forward. Pretty nice. Everything quite solidly. The Bandit in the center, at an advanced position, which is pretty nice. And then we can talk about the multi-sniper intruder and the Vostok. He did actually hold back his Vostok, and I'm not sure if this helps him a lot. The Vostok is here in total cover, so it's basically not really providing any arrows. It's actually providing an arrow up here, but I think it's not. It wasn't intended to do that, because I will later shoot that with a missile launcher, and it's in bad range for her. So maybe could have been placed a little bit over there to at least look down here. But nevertheless, it's not looking at any of the consoles, so holding back the Vostok didn't help him a lot. So I would probably not have held her back. Maybe even more would have held back the intruder to try to get some good ARO position. He placed the intruder on the bridge, which has a lot of overview, and he's therefore exposed to being attacked. He's only one wound, he has MSV2, but I don't think he's too scary in aero, and he's worth a lot of points. If I would have placed him, I would probably have held back the intruder, and probably would have placed him somewhere where he can't be seen by my calling. Maybe even put him somewhere over there, maybe at the place of Billy. This way he can look down here for long range arrow, look down here and threaten my Harris, because Kusanagi wouldn't be able to use her mimetism against the intruder, which probably I would have countered by placing white noise somewhere with the Custodia. This would have been the counterplay for that, but I think this would have been better to place him over there and not being able for my core link to see him. I would have avoided that. So that's my only things I would probably have changed in that deployment. So he did place his Vostok last, and I did counter deploy to that, to his deployment by placing the Chimera on this flank, because I want to threaten his McMurrow with the Chimera. I did consider to move my Chimera over here to get an Alpha Strike or an attack over here, but I would have to deal with the intruder first, and therefore I decided to simply shoot everything and maybe try to use the camera in the second turn. Therefore I will probably need her against the McMurrow, and this is why she comes on that flank. And I did put the TR bot up here. It's in a perfect centered position to get some shooting, either on the intruder or on the walker, and therefore probably with his two orders simply clear some arrow pieces. So that's the idea behind my deployment. So let's have a look how the game turns out. So for the first turn playing this Bakunin Big Girls list was pretty strong and a lot of fun. I mainly stick to the plan. The reaction zone did clear the walker, taking her two orders, but still being on arrow position. This was a good use for the two orders in group 2. My opponent did drain me 2 orders in group 1. So no attack with the Überfall commando was done, and I decided to keep the Harris where it was and do the work with the core link. The Riot Girl missile launcher clears the intruder by dodging and put into a line of sight, and then declaring a discover, and then a shoot. My opponent got nervous, which is probably fine or right, because I would have most likely discovered her, the intruder, and then I can simply shoot her. Shooting 2 dice on 16 is pretty solid, and even though if my opponent would hit me, I don't think the chances of me going down are too huge. So Riot Girl as missile launcher is first removing the arrows, then moving around a little bit, getting line of sight to the Vostok, causing her 1 wound by shooting down there. And then Fiddler is moving down here, going to the console and moving back. And she's damn fast. Her super jump and 6-4 movement make her super useful. If I place her as the leader, I can jump down and even put down drop beers, because otherwise I would have run out of zone of control with the calling. And therefore I simply slingshotted her to the front, back, and recreated the calling. Nothing more happened for me during my first turn. My opponent suffered some casualties and is suffering from the low order count in his first turn, I believe. He did lose the intruder. He has 1 unit off board, and he only has 9 units in group 1, which gives him 7 orders to work with. McMurrow is moving forward and getting out of line of sight again, and then he's starting to move around his Harris team. He's closely or barely getting this console. He needs to clear the reaction zone, which is fine. The evader is doing that. And from there he's stranded in the center. There's nothing more he can shoot at. He can't really reach the Riot Girl missile launcher because it's in bad range. So he's avoiding everything and moving to the center and also grabbing 1 console. No, he didn't grab this console. This was still neutral. Color was due to me replaying this setup. So that's basically what he did during his turn. My game plan in the second turn stays the same. I want to grab the center console with Fiddler, which I do in the end, and I want to use the Harris link. And since my opponent placed his Harris in the center, I want to create as much casualties as possible. I'm moving around a little bit over here, trying to get the HVT scanning with the medium infantry with my Kusanagi, but I fail and get stunned by the Moran. And I wanted to get the Cenobite basically attacking this link, but I think I can slingshot the Cenobite over there and split my burst of the heavy pistols, and at least get the evader in NWI. And I don't think I get the I think I split 3 bursts into the evader and 1 into the Vostok, and we both fail our shots there. But by moving the Fiddler forward, I bring back the reaction zone, which gives me test run. Perfect. And therefore the reaction zone is standing over there again and shooting the Vostok, and knocks her unconscious. Then the way is free for Fiddler to jump down here, jump up over there, and grabbing that console. I'll leave her there, should be fine. The link is only a 4-man link now. I'm repositioning them a little bit, boarding shotgun to the center. Spitfire, I think, is standing down there. Oh yes, My opponent did run his bandit hacker over there, so I had to deal with him first. And I get a little bit lucky, moving the whole link to the side. I want to bring the Spitfire over there. I didn't expect this to be an hacking device. Didn't see his plan coming over there when he did run him over there to hack my core link. But he fails due to the tin bot. And then I get the Spitfire over there and can shoot him in good range, and simply due to burst, I knock him unconscious. So there was a little bit of shuffling, and for me, pretty solid turn. I did kill the bandit. The Vostok has a lot of points. They are in a pretty compromised position because the Cenobite is in template range to the Evader. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable here. A little bit worried about McMurrow, but I have a lot of arrows looking down here. The reaction bot is looking down there. The Cenobite is in the way. The Riot Girl with her MSV is looking down there. And there are a lot of Pupniks, so I should be able to deal with McMurrow when he advances. So I'm feeling I'm on a really good path. I did grab 2 consoles already, so I still have to play that game safe. Hell, do I get surprised when Carlotta comes in on my opponent's second turn. I was already curious when he had 2 missing slots in his first group, but I got distracted during the game and wasn't looking at the back line anymore. And I was probably more likely expecting 2 Tomcats or a Wildcat or Hellcat. So I totally forgot about my backline. So there's one spot over there where Carlotta can come in, and we remember Kusanagi was over there, but everybody was looking in the wrong direction, so nobody could give a lookout to me, and so therefore Carlotta has to stay there, or can come in here. I think my opponent is not gaining the most benefit from that. He's moving over there and shooting at the Custodia first. He's killing her, fine. This way Kusanagi can change her facing and now can look at Kowalski. Probably what I would have done is coming in over here, not being seen by the Custodia, dropping prone and moving into cover, and then shoot at Kusanagi, because this is a good chance of getting her down. My opponent already knows that this is my lieutenant because I had the whip 14, and not sure, maybe I used the lieutenant order as well. So this would have been a good opportunity to kill Kusanagi, and from there he would have been able to move over there and shoot the Custodia anyways. But he would have gotten a free shot at me. I would have taken that. Maybe even shot something more from here, but he didn't do that. He did shoot the Custodia. The Carlotta was ending up over there, and now he has to do something else to clear that room. And he's moving forward the McMurrow. McMurrow is moving around here, throwing smoke down here, which is nice. Now my TR bot can't see her, or see him, and he's moving out there. I can't stop him with my Pupniks. They're barely not getting into close combat. I would have liked to do that. And then he's simply YOLOing forward and placing a chain rifle down here. Kusanagi fails her dodge and fails both armor saves, so is dropped unconscious. The Pupniks make their dodges and stop McMurrow in close combat. The missile launcher successfully hits McMurrow once and therefore does a wound. I think Carlotta also kills the Cenobite as well. No, I don't think so. She's trying to shoot him, but fails to do that, to kill him, because Mimetism -6, it's bad range, and so it's bad odds. I think in the end he uses the evader, moves back and tries to shoot him. The Cenobite places a chain rifle template over the Vostok and the evader, so both die to that. That was a solid trade for me. I think this was the last HI, and the Vostok can't be repaired. So I improve my chances here to score the center in the end. But I'm now in loss of lieutenant. So in my last turn, my plan is to destroy my opponent as much as possible. Especially McMurrow and Carlotta need to go down. And then push everything into the center as much as possible. I have a lot of HIs and remotes and need to place anybody on a row duty to seal this game. Therefore, first the Überfallkommando moves forward. I think all 3 Pupniks go into CC with McMurrow. He has to decide first who he wants to attack. I think he's attacking 1 Pupnik. And I choose a different one to attack him. 3 dies on 19, caused 3 wounds, and he goes unconscious. Perfect. I move the everything forward if possible. The Transductor Zond scoring the center. The Riot Girl with the boarding shotgun from down there, simply moving to the center. The Spitfire moving forward, hoping to simply dodge or being durable enough. And from there I have 3 units in the center. My opponent can't have a unit in the center because they won't survive there. So it's probably already pretty tough for him to deal with all 3 of them. It's unlikely that he will kill all of them. McMurrow is dead, so no problem there anymore. And I'm trying to shoot Carlotta with a lot of stuff, which fails in the end. I run the Chimera back and trying to shoot her with whatever I have, but she's too durable this time. I don't get her down. I even use the Fiddler to move her forward and just being annoying trying to kill the Dactari, but I don't fail that. I don't succeed with that either. But in the end, it would have been simply killing 1 order. And there the game is sealed. I think my opponent tries to achieve something in the end, but we realize that's not all not going to help him. If he ever moves Carlotta, she has a lot of AROs. It's Avicenna, the Tierbot, the missile launcher, which are looking at her, and she won't do that. She will simply die. Even though I think on this map there are some heating units missing, we expect it to be 1 second heating unit being over there. Still, that's too far for her to YOLO to make her explode at least 1, which would have made it even on heating units. She would have needed 3 orders to do that, dodging 2 times, this wouldn't have happened. So the game is over by then. So what's my conclusion about this list? It was a whole lot of fun. Like my previous games before the Link team updates already, the missile launcher and the core link is a really good opportunity even for attacking. If you can outrange your opponent and shoot on a 16, this is mostly successful. So it was a good plan to keep the core link into the defensive position, not moving them too much, and use them at the end. And I'm totally impressed by Fiddler. She wasn't there when I played Bakunin in the first place. She wasn't in the sector yet. And she's a really good improvement. With her 6'4" and super jump movement and all the package she brings, she's so flexible and fast. She can do a lot of stuff with that. I also like the Harris with the Kusanagi and the Cenobite. Kusanagi can simply shoot whatever she wants, and the Cenobite can attack, template, whatever needs to be mocked up in close combat. The Reverend Custodia, I think it's nice. It didn't has her opportunity in this game, but still like that. The Überfallkommando is a solid choice. It's hard to play and to gain a benefit from her, but I think that's pretty reasonable. I will try different lists in future and see how. Maybe I'm interested how Robin Hook works out, because I think he can defend the center line very well. You can play some drop beers. He's a repeater. He's tough to remove since he has 2 wounds. So I think that's also a good list to try out. Besides that, I think I like it. I need to practice with the core link more, because it's different to play this than my vanilla or Corregidor lists, where I mostly have Harris links and individual units moving around. And running the core link is definitely different. And I need to check how to look at my backline, because there are so many units that move around during the game. I have to check how to do that. Maybe even place the Harris and the core link more close together and abandon one corner of the map. That might help with dealing with these problems. So let me know what you think about this list. I really appreciate the idea from Kavrayan to make a poll about these big girls. I think they are an opportunity. Not sure if they are as tough as Steel Phalanx lists, but for now I will a little bit stick to them, because I will stretch my ideas and try something different, and I will go with Bakunin therefore and see where this journey goes to. I think they improved from beginning of N3, and currently they're pretty solid and pretty fun to play. Okay, so I want to have a look at my deployment, how to counter deploy to Kusanagi. I think I will have to change my principles for deployment a little bit, because recently I was playing vanilla, or I was playing Corregidor with only a few link teams, basically mostly just one, and having 2 links with overall 8 units is a lot of units that will probably move up the board and change their position. With vanilla, there is always something looking back and checking for parachutists and that stuff. But this will change, so I strongly believe that placement is an important part in Infinity, and therefore deployment itself is a very crucial process. So I think I have to have a look how to improve here. I think I did come up with this idea. The core link stays the same. I did place Avicenna over there to look back and provide some arrows to the back. She is small enough so she can't be seen from the other side of the board. Maybe even from up there. Didn't spot that. So that's fine. I did leave the Harris where it was as well. I considered to place the Harris in this area, but wasn't happy with the deployments. It was difficult to bring the Harris down here without being threatened by any pitchers. So I decided to leave it over there, and especially it's closer to get to this console in the end. And they would have a hard time to go to that console, and therefore I want them to run over there. So I didn't change too much here. They are defending this building. I mainly changed the two transductodons. This one was somewhere over there in the first place, and this one was over here. And I think I like this positioning better now. This transductor is having a line of sight down here, always in good range, covering this area, which is pretty solid and nice. Only short range arrows, and also covers the whole backline. Since this one is taller or is the same size as the other transductor, and any parachutist coming in is S2, so is taller, there's no way anybody can hide in the backline. It would be possible to get in over here, but then this transductor will at least get an dodge, and so maybe can reposition and react to that. And I did place the second transductor over there, leaving this flank open, but I have Kusanagi over there spotting an arrow, so I don't think this is a too dangerous attack vector. And if anything is coming over there, Kusanagi will probably survive the first volley and simply duck into cover. And then this transductor can start seeing anything. So it's not easy to get advance and get into my backline. This one is also looking down here, which is good arrow positioning. Also looking into the building and doing some arrow duty in this building. So I really like this position. I give up the opportunity to look down here, but this area is not too much, isn't worth too much anyways. If anybody is attacking me from over there, there will be the missile launcher, and at some point the flash pulse will see the opponent. So it's still defended against attack vectors. And if my opponent wants to grab this console, it's more likely that he will simply run this way than going through the building and going over there. So it's okay for me to not having this area covered for defense. I did place the yellow, so group 2 transductor on this side on purpose, because my opponent can get over there, and this is a place he will have to pass when he wants to go to that console, and he's coming from over there. So it's more likely that my opponent will shoot this transductor than it's likely that he will shoot this transductor. And this is group 2. It's more disposable than this one. and therefore I placed him here. Additionally, keep in mind I have the test run classified, so if either of these two gets knocked unconscious, and it's unlikely that they go straight to death due to their remote presence, I have Fiddler who can fulfill that classified, and that's perfectly fine. I want that. So it's okay to give him a little bit of a peek to maybe offer my opponent the opportunity to shoot me. So yeah, I think this covers my backline and my defense more than the previous deployment. I actually don't like having the transductor zones looking over the whole battlefield, because I don't want them to get shot from out of range too easily. I rate them too high for that. So having them at my backline and giving arrow to short ranges, which is perfect for their flash pulse, I think it's the perfect solution. So this would have been better for my deployment.